$500 a month was a cushion, a nice, soft thing to land on. $1,000 a month is something else entirely. $1,000 a month is a paycheck. It is the rung where passive income stops being a novelty you show your friends and starts being a force that actually holds a piece of your life up. This is the moment the machine crosses a line, from money that is pleasant to have to money that genuinely counts. Today, I am going to show you exactly what $1,000 a month unlocks, why it feels so different from the first rung, and the precise number it takes to build the machine that pays it. Here is the plan for the next few minutes. First, I will remind you how this whole ladder works, the one piece of math that turns any monthly income you want into the size of the pile it takes to fund it. Then I will give you the number for this second rung, and I will show you how it stacks against the first. After that, 6 unlocks. 6 things that become true the moment your money starts paying you $1,000 a month. 1. This is a real paycheck, not a bonus. 2. It covers a load-bearing bill. 3. The number doubled, but your effort did not. 4. The crossover feeling. 5. It buys you a no. And 6. Keep the engine boring as it grows. Then the recipe to climb from rung 1 to rung 2. Let us start with the machine. Every rung on this ladder runs on one idea, so let me hand it to you again because we use it the entire series. There is a long-standing planning rule of thumb that a sensible, invested pile can pay out about 4% of itself every year, roughly forever, without the pile running dry. It is a rule of thumb, not a guarantee, but it is the anchor. And if you run that arithmetic backwards, it collapses into something you can do in your head. To find the pile that pays a given monthly income, you multiply that monthly income by 300. That is the whole trick, 300. Want 500 a month? 150,000. Want 1,000 a month? Watch what happens. $1,000 a month times 300 is $300,000. That is the number for the second rung. $300,000 invested in boring, broad index funds throws off around $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year, that you can take without shrinking the original pile. Now look at the 2 rungs side by side. Rung 1 was $500 a month from $150,000. Rung 2 is $1,000 a month from $300,000. Exactly double on both sides. That symmetry matters, and in a few minutes I am going to show you why doubling the number does not mean doubling the work. Hold 300,000. Everything today hangs off it. Unlock 1. $1,000 a month is a real paycheck. Not a bonus, not a treat, but income with the weight of a job behind it. Think about what $500 a month actually was. It was wonderful, but in your head it probably sat in the same drawer as a gift card or a good tax refund. Nice, a little extra, something to enjoy on top of your real money. $1,000 a month does not fit in that drawer. $1,000 a month is roughly what a steady part-time job pays. A few shifts a week, someone showing up, clocking in, earning it. Except this paycheck never clocks in. It never commutes, never asks for a day off, never gets stuck in traffic or dreads a Monday. It just arrives, every month, from a pile of money quietly doing the work. And the moment income reaches the size of a real job, your brain reclassifies it. It stops being play money and becomes part of the foundation. Money you can plan around, budget against, actually build a life on top of. That is the line this rung crosses. 500 was a bonus you were grateful for. 1,000 is a paycheck you can lean on. Same machine, same principle as rung 1, but now it is carrying real weight. Unlock 2. 1,000 a month can cover a load-bearing bill, one of the structural things your whole life actually rests on. Remember rung 1. 500 a month was a category killer, and the bill it retired was usually an optional feeling one. The groceries, the phone and internet stack, the stuff you could, in a pinch, trim. Useful, real, but not the beam holding up the house. 1,000 a month reaches the beams. 1,000 a month is help with the rent or the mortgage. It is a car, the payment, the insurance, the fuel, the whole cost of being mobile. For a lot of families, It is a serious dent in childcare, which is often the single most brutal line in the budget. These are not the bills you trim when money is tight. These are the bills that decide whether you keep the roof, keep the job you drive to, keep the childcare that lets both parents work at all. Miss one of these and your whole life wobbles. The others are inconveniences, but these are the load-bearing walls. And now a machine helps pay one of them. Not for a lucky month. Every month indefinitely, whether you are working or not. That is a completely different feeling from covering the groceries. When the machine starts holding up a load-bearing part of your life, you are no longer decorating the edges of your budget. You are propping up the center of it. The rung does not just pay you $1,000, it puts a permanent support beam under something that actually holds your life up. Unlock 3, and this is the one that changes how the whole climb feels. The number doubled. 300,000 is twice 150,000. But your effort did not double, because this time you are not starting from zero. Here is the trap most people fall into. They look at rung 2, see a number twice as big, and assume it must be twice as hard, twice as far, twice as long. It is not, and the reason is simple. You already own the first machine. When you begin the climb to rung 2, you are not standing on the ground again. You are standing on $150,000 that is already working, already growing, already throwing off $500 a month. You can feed right back in. That existing pile does a huge share of the lifting for you. It grows on its own while you add to it, so the gap from 150 to 300,000 gets closed by 2 engines at once, your contributions and the machine's own compounding, instead of just your paycheck grinding alone. And there is a second thing you carry into rung 2 that does not show up on any balance sheet: the habit. You already proved you can save, automate, and leave it alone. That muscle is built. So the distance looks twice as long on paper, but you are covering it with a running start and a helper pushing from behind. Double the number does not mean double the work. It means the machine finally starts pulling its weight. Unlock 4. This is the rung where you often feel the crossover, the moment money visibly tips onto your side of the table. Let me explain what I mean by crossover. For most of your financial life, the arrows point away from you. You pay interest on debt, a card, a loan, a mortgage, and every month a little of your money flows outward to someone else for the privilege of borrowing. Money has been working against you in the background for years. At $1,000 a month of asset income, something quietly historic can happen. For the first time, the money your assets earn you starts to outweigh the interest your debts cost you. The flow reverses. You cross from being someone the financial system charges to someone the financial system pays, and even if you are debt-free, there is a parallel version of this crossover. $1,000 a month is often the first time your passive income equals a real, nameable slice of your monthly expenses. Not a rounding error. A visible chunk, a quarter, a third of what it costs to run your life, now handled by the machine instead of your labor. Either way, it is a psychological tipping point far bigger than the dollars themselves. Up to now, building this thing took faith. You were adding money to a pile and trusting the math. At the crossover, you stop needing faith because you can see it. Money is measurably, undeniably on your side now, and it is starting to win. That feeling is rocket fuel, and this is the rung where most people feel it for the first time. Unlock 5, and this is the real product of this rung. Not the cash, but what the cash lets you refuse. $1,000 a month of durable income buys you a no. Think about all the yeses in your life that you gave out of pure financial fear. The overtime you did not want but could not turn down. The extra shift that wrecked your weekend. The side gig with the client who treated you badly that you kept saying yes to because you needed the money. The job you stayed in 6 months too long because walking away felt impossible. Every one of those was a yes you said because your back was against the wall. Now put $1,000 a month of income that never quits underneath you. Suddenly, some of those desperate yeses become optional. The bad overtime? You can decline it. The machine already covered what that overtime would have. The toxic client, you can let them go. The pressure that made you swallow things you should not have swallowed loosens its grip because there is now a floor under you that does not depend on any of them. That is what optionality actually is, and it is worth more than the $1,000. Notice that you may never even spend the money on any of this. The point is not that you quit your job, it is that you finally could. Just knowing there is a floor underneath you changes how you carry yourself at work, in negotiations, in every room where money used to have the final word over you. Money in your account is nice. Money that lets you say no to the things quietly costing you your health, your time, and your self-respect. That is the real payoff of this rung. You're not just buying income. You're buying the power to walk away. Unlock 6, and this one is a warning, because at this rung, the temptation gets loud. Keep the engine boring, even as it grows. Here is what happens when your pile crosses into serious money, and $300,000 is serious money. A voice shows up. It says, "This is a big machine now, so why settle for the boring broad market return? Why not point some of it at something that pays 8, 10, 12%? Look how much more it could throw off." That voice is the single most expensive voice in investing, and it gets louder at exactly this rung, because the pile is finally big enough to make the fantasy feel worth chasing. Do not listen to it. Those flashy, high-yield promises are very often traps. Fragile payouts that get cut the moment things go wrong, sitting on top of capital that quietly erodes underneath you. The correct move as the machine grows is not to make the engine more exciting. It is to keep the engine boring and add more fuel. Keep buying the broad, low-cost index. Keep contributing. Diversify the fuel you pour in, not the design of the engine. The whole reason this machine can hold up a load-bearing bill is that it is dull, sturdy, and predictable. The moment you juice it, chasing a bigger number, you trade away the exact reliability that made it worth building. A boring machine you can count on beats a spectacular one that breaks right when you are leaning on it. Protect the boring. That is how you keep everything the first 5 unlocks gave you. So how do you actually climb from rung 1 to rung 2, from 150,000 paying you 500 to 300,000 paying you 1,000? The good news is you are not starting a new project. You are continuing one that already has momentum, and the second rung is genuinely faster than the first, because now the machine helps. Here is the recipe. First, keep your savings rate, and if you possibly can, raise it. The single biggest lever you control is how much you feed the machine each month, so protect that habit like it is sacred. Second, reinvest what rung 1 pays you. That $500 a month is already arriving. Instead of spending it, point it straight back into the pile so the machine's own output helps buy the next machine. Third, automate every increase. When you get a raise, quietly route a slice of it into the account before your lifestyle ever sees it. Automation is what carried you this far, so let it carry you further. Fourth, and this is the one that traps people right here, do not inflate your life with that first 500. The rung 1 income is the fuel for rung 2, not a license to upgrade your car. Spend it and you stall, reinvest it and you accelerate. And fifth, stay boring and stay patient. You already climbed the slowest, hardest rung on the whole ladder, the first 150,000. This next stretch is downhill by comparison because the pile is now pushing alongside you. Do those 5 things and rung 2 is not a leap. It is just rung 1 continued with a tailwind you already earned. So tell me in the comments, which load-bearing bill would $1,000 a month cover for you? The rent, the car, the child care that is eating you alive? Pick one, because that is the beam you are really building toward. Wherever you are on the climb, the next dollar you invest is holding up a little more of your life. This is education, not financial advice. Just the map, laid out honestly. Next time, we climb to the 3rd rung. $2,500 a month, coast mode. The rung where the machine covers your core bills and you could stop adding entirely and still drift to the finish line. That one changes everything. I will see you there.